Hello everyone, this is Krotek giving you a shoutcast between PPG Bubbles and Root QXC here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. PPG Bubbles spawning on the south side of the map as the red Protoss player. Meanwhile, we have Root QXC spawning on the north side of the map as the blue Terran. So Terran versus Protoss here in the Xel'Naga Caverns. As I've said before, Xel'Naga Caverns is one of those maps with only 2 starting locations, so both players automatically know where the other person is. Now, Protoss players can do a lot of cheese on this map just because they know where their opponent is currently spawning. I've seen a lot of pylon play into gateways into this location and then trying to gateway rush with zealots straight into the base. Most likely the Terran player Root QXC will move down with one SCV into this location here, making sure that there are no gateways currently being built into his base. Meanwhile, PPG Bubbles currently continuing to just get some additional probes and now trying to chrono boost and get some more probes out, trying to get a stronger economy going out of here. Supply depot has now been completed. We should be seeing a barracks now coming in just a moment, perhaps just waiting for 150 minerals. There we go, and now building a barracks here. I like the positioning on this barracks. What this will do is, even if there was a rush coming in from Bubbles, and this barracks along with the supply depot would offer a significant amount of protection on any zealots trying to run in. All you had to do is then place another supply depot here, and then with a bunker here, you then now have perfect coverage for any zealots that try to rush in. And as soon as you have a strong enough army, you would be able to move out and then attempt to try to take down these gateways. But obviously no gateways there, as we now have an SCV on the move and now QXC doing some scouting. Interestingly enough, Bubbles not doing any scouting just quite yet, currently warping in the gateway. Should train up a zealot, get a cybernetics core, and then we shall start to see the different openings and the different tactics that Bubbles will be using. So it does not look like there will be any zealots just quite yet. Warping in that cybernetics core first. The cybernetics core does not take very long to warp in, and also allows you to train stalkers and sentries. So PPG Bubbles still warping out of over here. Just gonna try to call them Bubbles throughout the rest of the match. And QXC doing a standard 2-build Rax build so far. We'll see if there's going to be a reactor here or if it's going to be a double tech lab. And he does see around this base so far. He doesn't see any Stargates. I believe if he did see a Stargate, he would definitely try to go for definitely try to go for a reactor in order to make sure that he has enough marine production. Now training up Marauders here, just continuing to look around as Bubbles currently warps in a Nexus over here at the natural expansion, almost 4 minutes into this game. So a very, very fast expansion indeed. One Marine now on that low ground, and pretty much Bubbles is fighting in the dark. So Bubbles fighting in the dark, not exactly sure what he's going to be trying to do. He does not know if his opponent has an expansion up. He does not know how far his tech is currently down. Root QXC now going for a reactor here. Concussive Shell nearing completion on that research, and now QXC just trying to walk out with more and more of these SCVs, doing a great job so far. Build more and more with supply depots and making sure that he has early sight. So a Stalker now trying to give chase towards an SCV. Stalker does outmove against an SCV there, as we now have a Marauder and a Marine on its way to the south side here and trying to get some damage done. The SCV was able to get sight on this one Nexus, and if this Nexus is shot down before it is completed, then that will be a loss of many minerals and a loss of build time. We are currently going into a 4-gate though, so it's going to be one Marine and one Marauder trying to make its way out. An additional Stalker now coming in, and now those Stalkers do have a range of 6, will be able to deal a lot of damage, and those Marauders now trying to come in, and SCVs coming in as well. So SCVs now trying to get a decent surround, and now one of those core units are going to quickly get taken down there, taking down both Stalkers just in a nick of time, as this one Marauder is now down to 8 hit points. No additional Stalkers, no probes now coming off the mineral line as those additional gateways are trying to come into play. Will these Marines and Marauders be able to deal enough damage? So far, these bunkers still take quite some time to build, trying to turn around, trying to get more damage. Those probes do move much more quickly than that poor Marauder, so that poor Marauder now getting ganked, but a new Marauder also coming in as well. So Marauders now trying to move around, trying to get more damage dealt across the board. 2 bunkers, 1 bunker will be completed, and now a bunker with a Marauder and a Marine. So nicely done. One SCV here. It looks as though more SCVs now returning home in order to do more mining, and now Marines coming in here as well. So it will be a loss of 400 minerals on this Nexus, as there are currently Zealots and Sentries on this high ground. We do not see a transition into any other buildings so far. We are currently running off of 4 warp gates, and that is it. We do have 1 Sentry now trying to come in. SCV deciding to pull back, does not want to engage, now warping in more Stalkers as well. Will that SCV be able to do enough repairing will be the key question. Zealots now trying to come in, Stalkers now trying to come in as well, and those Zealots will be able to finish this off. More damage being dealt across multiple units once again, as the bunker now going to be able to shoot down and deal more damage here. Massive number of 4 Marines in that bunker, and now more Marines just hanging around over here. More Marauders trying to come into play as well, trying to deal more damage. Will it be able to deal enough damage to be able to take down this Nexus? The Nexus is recharging its shields as a Marauder now trying to come into play. Marauder will be able to finish off, no, not able to finish off that Stalker. That Stalker down to 1 hit point. There it goes. Marauders and Marines trying to make their way into this position here. One Marauder trying to deal enough damage towards that one of those Stalkers. Stalkers down to 8 hit points. There it goes, but Bubble is able to barely hold on to this Nexus. Interestingly enough, the Nexus here, if it was not for the upgrades to the health on the Nexus in the most recent patch, or one of those most recent patches, this Nexus would have gotten taken down. This Nexus suffered 1,500 points of damage. So PPG Bubbles can say thank you to Blizzard for increasing the hit points and the shields of a Nexus by 250 each. As this game transitions, we should probably see additional tech buildings coming in from Bubbles. Bubbles cannot live off of Warp Gate units alone, but QXC trying to defy that and now going into a 4 racks build. This may be a 2 Tech Lab, 2 Reactor build with mass Marines and Marauders, as these units are once again on the move. There is a pylon currently being warped in on the dark side of this brush over here. It will quickly be revealed as those Marines and Marauders trying to move in, and Marines also moving out from the front position production wise. Combat shield now being researched, and now those Marauders being very careful to not reveal himself and to that pylon there, wants to wait for that attack, but a second pylon also being warped in as well. So interesting enough, Marines and Marauders now hanging out over here, trying to put some pressure. Will they be able to deal any damage? No. Zealots do only move at the same speed as Marines and Marauders, trying to come back, no, trying to run back over here and now try to reestablish these Xel'Naga watchtowers. QXC being very aggressive, trying to move out with his large army, getting a lot of sight on the map so far as these Stalkers and SCVs make their way off to the north. Sentries and Zealots down over here, and now we'll be able to activate this Xel'Naga watchtower in just a moment. Marines now coming up. The Marines do see that this army is currently coming into position and now decides to back off, as a probe also just traveling off to the north. So Pepe the probe wants to warp in a pylon perhaps here, and then another one here to be able to warp in units into the battle instead of having to traverse the whole entire map. There is one bunker in play, bunker with a range of 7 on those Marauders, range of 6 on those Marines, able to hold their own. So now that this pylon has been created, we should be seeing some additional units now being warped in just a moment. Yeah, Zealots and Sentries being warped in. Sentry's a very, very good call in this particular situation, as he was low on minerals and heavy on gas. We now also see some Ghosts currently being trained. So Root QXC using Ghost. I still do not see a factory just quite yet. An engineering bay now being laid down as well. So it's going to be an engineering bay. There is 2 tech labs, 1 reactor, and 1 naked barracks so far. Back over here, another pylon by Bubbles. So Bubbles has multiple pylons in multiple locations, enabling him to deploy units anywhere he wants into the field. 1 Stalker now coming over here. SCV quickly going to get taken down relatively easily there, and now down it goes as it's able to scout out the rest of the army. The gold minerals have been depleted. So as these gold minerals are depleted, and we may see a Nexus here in just a moment, we do also see a missile turret coming into play. So missile turret, and also trying to get more refineries for additional amounts of gas. Robotics Bay now coming online, so we will be seeing Colossi in just a moment. First getting an observer into the air in order to exactly figure out what he's facing up against. Stalkers now trying to move out. Marauders and Stalkers, Marines now trying to come in. Are we going to get a force field is a key question. There is that force field splitting off much of that army, but in comes an EMP shockwave as well, dealing a lot of damage across the board to those shields. More force fields now coming in, and now those Marines and Marauders are going to have to be using those stim packs in order to catch up and deal more damage. However, no stim packs to be used. Robotics Bay nearing completion. Immortal also being trained as well. And perhaps we should start to see a factory into a starport in order to get metavacs. Root QXC is well known for his double drop play, able to multitask and take control of 2 locations at once. We also see the level 1 weapons upgrade for the Forge or on the forge for that ground army and the level 1 infantry upgrades coming in from QXC. So both sides investing very, very heavily into their army, as there are now Marines and Marauders attempting to take down these destructible rocks. The Marauders will be able to finish it off relatively easily, and now Bubbles knows exactly what's happening here at this gold mineral expansion. Most likely a planetary fortress will be lifted off, or command center will be lifted off from here to here, and then be a planetary fortress. A nexus now being laid down by Bubbles, so Bubbles trying to obviously establish another expansion of his own, and also getting Colossus. So Colossus currently being trained, however there is no extended thermal lance research, so those Colossus will not have a range of 9 for quite some time, as we are now continuing to get that level 1 weapons upgrade and Zealot charge. But in comes this army. Ghost now trying to make its way over. Are the Ghosts going to be able to get out some no EMP shockwaves at all? There we go. I believe that was an EMP shockwave, but the force fields were already laid down, both sides fighting back and forth, and now more Stalkers trying to come in. Stalkers trying to pick off the rest of these units here. Stim packs have not worn off, so those units are trying to run away. Another round of Stim pack now being used. Stalkers trying to give chase. Down goes another Marauder there, as these Marauders desperately trying to return home. One SCV, and keeping track of this particular expansion, making sure that there is no expansion at this time. And I believe as long as PPG Bubbles, or Bubbles, is able to get perhaps 2 more Colossi, he will be able to take this game, just because there is no starport with Vikings just quite yet. You know what, I spoke too soon. Starport now going onto a reactor will be able to double train Vikings as soon as QXC selects that starport and tries to start training them. So back here we now have the armory coming online, and now going in for double medevac instead of double starport. The armory is now being completed, and now with the infantry upgrade and the armor upgrades being researched at the same time, it looks like QXC wants to heavily invest in his infantry army and try to just upgrade it as quickly as possible. Armory nearing completion as well, and also upgrading to an a planetary fortress at the gold mineral location. Bubbles only currently has 1 Colossus, and now trying to move out. Will those Colossus be able to deal any damage towards this one building over here? We do see a Ghost now trying to come in, and the Ghost may be able to get off an EMP shockwave. Colossus does not have the extended thermal lance research, so unable to deal any damage there. So range of 6. We do see that the command center has been taken down, and now both sides fighting back and forth. Force fields now finally coming online. Marauders trying to finish off this fight. Another Colossus once again re-engaging, and down it goes. So 1 Colossus has been taken down. Immortals trying to finish off more of those units there, as Stalkers and Sentries will be able to deal more damage across multiple SCVs. SCVs also getting picked apart there, and things are looking very good for Bubbles. Bubbles currently with a stronger economy, warping in another Nexus. Warping in, it says he's warping another Nexus, but oh yeah, where is that Nexus? Oh, warping another Nexus here. So wow, PPG Bubbles taking the 2nd gold mineral patch, and now with so many Zealots, Stalkers, and Colossus, will be able to mine out very, very efficiently there. Zealots getting blasted away as Marauders and Marines make their way over. Zealots trying to re-engage, deciding to back off as they do not want to give chase. And now Bubbles, if he's able to take this gold mineral patch, should definitely take the game, as QXC finally starting to mass up some Vikings. Currently, I believe there are no Vikings in play, but QXC moving out with a double dropship may be able to deal some damage. We'll see how effective these dropships are in particular. As he's moving out with them, the Observer is in the air, did not activate the Xel'Naga watchtower, so he does not know about these incoming dropships. Dropships may even try to just drop onto that low ground and then deal that damage. So a drop into the gold mineral location, as well as a drop into the main base here, the main expansion here. So both sides are going to be suffering heavy casualties in just a moment. Stalkers and Zealots now currently trying to be warped in. Colossus now making their way over, as well as another drop happening simultaneously over here. So QXC doing a great job simply just destroying probes and now making their way over. The dropship here has been taken down, but more units need to come in over here to reinforce, as those Zealots were already warped in here. So now we see an army of probes being transferred to this northern location, as a large fight happening here. Vikings in the air, Stalkers on the ground. Colossus has been finished off, as SCVs now trying to come off the mineral line. Things are not looking good. PPG Bubbles does have a decent amount of Stalkers. There are a lot of SCVs off the mineral line. SCVs also trying to desperately repair the bunker, but there is no minerals to be had. So with no minerals to be had, QXC is in trouble. No economy. SCVs winning out on this fight so far. These SCVs need to pull back. QXC now moving out with this one command center, does not realize that there is another Nexus there, as these units are once again on the move. Vikings now trying to move out, and things are really not looking good for QXC. QXC now trying to finish the rest of this game using these Marauders and Marines, jumping them back up into that medevac. The command center will quickly be denied landing here, as these Vikings now trying to deal damage towards these towards those pylons. However, Archons now coming out to engage. Archons do not deal any additional damage towards those Vikings, and QXC says GG. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed this 1v1 replay between Bubbles and Root QXC.